Hey guys, I want to take a second to thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They stand behind their work with a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. They have 24/7 emergency service, and if you mention the show, you receive a free watchdog maintenance plan for 1 year. Call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. 484-917-1803. That's Comfort Pro. This is going to be a good one, Hugo.
The Brad Weisman Show. Real people, real life, and everything in between.
So what do your kids think of this?
Oh, they are so embarrassed.
I'm not here for the money, but I'll still take it. take it.
Unfiltered conversations with the people shaping our world.
Because you're judging yourself by your intentions. They're judging you by your actions.
Exactly right.
You know, my wife said to me, you go to work and you give everyone the Mitchell buffet, and you come home and you give me the scraps.
And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. We're back again. Oh, my goodness. We have so many great guests. This is getting to be more and more fun every single time we get in here, Hugo. I got to tell you. So, we have a real good one. This is one I've been looking. I've seen her on Instagram, saw her on Facebook, saw her on YouTube. Seen her all over the place. She's in a lot of different places. She's a really good keynote speaker. She's written 3 or 4 books already, has another book coming out in September, and her name is Heather Younger. I'm going to read her bio first, and then we'll bring her on. Heather is a leadership and workplace culture keynote speaker, researcher, consultant, 4-time best-selling author whose work helps organizations build leaders and teams that can weather any storm. Named on Inc.'s top 50 leadership and management expert and Thinkers 50 radar thought leader, Heather brings more than 20 years of hands-on experience leading teams through high-stakes situations where results mattered. People depended on her, and decisions couldn't wait. So we're going to bring her on. It's Heather Younger. That name is real easy for me to say. Thank goodness we have a name that I can pronounce. You know, sometimes we get guests on here, and I get a little nervous because their names are a little bit more difficult than mine.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
My family's name. I'm doing great. But when you say that about names, my husband's name, so my married name is not very easy. Well, it's easy, but not for most. So then all my kids have the same last name, but they don't have my last name. Younger is easy, and the other one they just keep messing up. So I'm just like, no, I'll just stay with Younger. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Younger's easy. And it just has a nice flow to it. Heather Younger, you know, you'll never get older if you have a name like Younger.
Oh, well, you hope that's the case.
See, look at that. That was a commercial right there. It's a commercial. But no, so thanks for being here all the way from Colorado. How's Colorado doing?
It's wonderful. I walked early this morning, and I'm going to be doing that this afternoon because it's just like when you're in the sunshine, how can you not be out in it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a gift.
It is a gift. We're a little rainy here today, but that's all right. We're getting past it. We need that so that the grass looks green and everything else looks nice. So, yeah, I just want to jump in here. You're very much into the unshakable leadership. The unshakable just kept coming up everywhere on your website. Everything was unshakable. And I just love that because the term is not something that you hear a lot. You know, you hear all different kinds of things like undefeated and all things like that, but unshakable. What does that mean to you? And where did you come up with that term?
Well, I wouldn't say I came up with it. I mean, people talk about unshakable.
Sure.
It's been out there, right? I initially had thought about it in the context of a keynote, and where I came from. It's so interesting. I have my book on self-leadership. It started me down that road. I saw in the audiences, in my focus groups, in the leaders that I speak with and I work with on the consulting side too, this sense of like abdicating responsibility and being shaken a lot. And the world was like coming down on people and then having the ability to cope. And I just kept seeing all of this. And then I started to see like a mirror. And I saw that what I was seeing in the world had at some point been inside of me, and some portion of it was still inside of me. And so I had a very similar struggle. And so as I was starting to think through my strategy and some changing on my expansion of my brand, I was like, I'm going to have a keynote based on this. And someone said, I actually think that could be your new umbrella, because before my umbrella was on caring leadership. Yeah. And caring leadership is still embedded underneath Unshakable. So caring is always there. It's like listening, caring, it will always be there. And it was the forward messaging based upon what the world was asking for and needing and what I was sensing in the world that I needed to kind of adjust that overarching brand identity. So that's where it just I went from the smaller to the much larger. And in Heather fashion, I always think in the form of an ecosystem. So it's like, I'm going to have an assessment. I'm going to have this, I'm going to have a workshop. I'm going to have I have all the things. I have my Becoming Unshakable podcast. Like everything is an ecosystem. So that's kind of where I go. I go all in or I don't do it.
That's cool. Very cool.
So that's where I'm at now.
And where did you start? Did you always do this kind of work, or where did like, give me a little bit of your past?
No, I'm actually a trained lawyer. I don't practice anymore. I haven't for many years. So law was where I started at. And then I moved into large account management, sales, and then kind of customer experience, and then employee experience. And all the entire time I've been leading teams and lead teams for over 20 years in environments that were full of mergers, reorgs, tech shifts, layoffs, disruption. And so I realized, that's the other part of this whole Unshakable thing, is I realized I had been underestimating how closely connected I am to my audience. What I mean by that is I had already lived a life full of pressure, change, looping over things, hitting walls, falling down, like getting bruised, all the things inside the work environment in a leadership role. And I thought, why haven't you talking about it with little bits and pieces, but you really hadn't been elevating it to the extent that you should to really help your audiences know that you know who they are because you've been in their shoes, versus there are other people who speak on leadership who had not led teams before, actually. And so I just really was underestimating the power of the lived experience, the shared lived experience, and what it would bring. Yeah, it's so true. There's a lot of times you'll find that people have read about it or have coached on it, but they never really did it, and there's a big difference there on all of that. And, the thing that stuck out to me was I love that. Let's get into the caring leadership. Let's kind of touch through the different books that you've written. You've written a book on the art of caring leadership. And, it's funny. We just did a podcast yesterday. We recorded on, and it's funny, the different spin that people have, different ways that people look at leadership. And the person we interviewed yesterday, it was much more of the weakest link gets fired. It was very much about, that kind of more of building a sports team as opposed to a caring type family for work. And I'm a Keller Williams, franchise owner, partner with other owners. And we're all about culture and caring leadership and making people feel good, and that produces a better result from people that work around you. So just tell me a little bit. I think that's kind of where you probably, I didn't read the book, but I read a little bit about it. So tell me a little bit about the caring leadership. So one thing that's interesting to know about the book on caring leadership, and because I think this journey is equally as interesting. So my very first book was The 7 Intuitive Laws of Employee Loyalty. And the first chapter of that book was Give Them Good Supportive Managers. The next book on the art of caring leadership was basically my effort to define what a good supportive manager looked like. And I just defined it under the umbrella of caring leadership. I have a registered trademark on it. I have assessment on it. I have all the things around caring leadership. And here's why that was initially. I was in workplaces where the leaders didn't get it. So I'm not saying they didn't have any element of care. I think they all thought they cared, but they didn't show it in ways that were really clear to me and to the team that was looking to them for guidance in some way. So this art of caring leadership is based upon hundreds of interviews, all of my employee focus group work I do. And I put together, I said, let me take all this research back stuff and give people very clear behaviors that demonstrate what care actually is, instead of it being this squishy, nebulous thing. So that was what I did. Then what happened is, from the caring leadership book, I wrote The Art of Active Listening, which is yet again another chapter instead of caring leadership, but I just said, this is extremely important. So now I'm going to take a portion of that and I'm going to peel it away because listening is so critical. And then I did the same thing with self-leadership, because self-leadership is the first chapter of caring leadership. So what happens is I get inside the work I do, my head gets inside the work and it gets like big. And then the world speaks to me, the audiences or whoever I'm at. And then I'm like, shoot, this one is actually what the world needs right now. And then I hyper focus in on like a particular area. And sometimes I zoom out and sometimes I zoom in, depending on what just again, what I'm hearing in the macro micro world that I'm in.
Yeah.
So caring leadership is that. It's the 9 behaviors of caring leadership. And it is the effort to define and put some actual like meat on the teeth of what care looks like, instead of just saying it, but really not knowing what the heck you're talking about and not having anybody have a way to measure that.
Yeah. And have you found, or in your experience with this, that type of leadership is ultimately more productive than the totem pole type setup, or the I'm your boss, deal with it kind of a setup? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the old school way of doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Like, if you look at it, you don't hear Elon Musk being some like squishy, nice, caring leader, and he does quite well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other leaders you hear that are not the kind of leader I describe. I'm talking about the kind of leader I'd like to work for,
Gotcha.
and that most people would enjoy and like to work for, and how we would actually like to live our lives and feel like we're doing great, meaningful work because we're doing it with people who care about us.
Yeah.
But there are people who maybe don't listen so well, or don't empower us as much, or there could be some elements they don't do that might still get a good result. But will people actually like go the length for you? Like, what are they willing to do for you? Like, what level of loyalty are you wanting to get so that people are willing to like stay late, like be in it, like locked in? And the caring side is, I think, what delivers that.
Yeah.
Sure, stock options, like all these things of course they're great. Those are other things that are other benefits. But this is from a human to human relationship.
I was just going to say, it's just being human.
Yeah.
It's being human. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like in your work you do, I mean, it's like all human.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if I don't trust you,
Yep.
like, I am so not going to have you help me buy a house somehow. I'm just not doing that. So that way of leading, it can't be that, you're right, like the command and control type of thing. It cannot. It has to be, okay, like I want you to show care and concern for those who are looking to us to help them with their next purchase or to sell or whatever. And so in order for you to do that, I should probably embody that.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about too?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And what's interesting, I'm thinking about it now from the last guest we had, and we were talking about different things. It just seemed to be there's a lot of parallels here from the guests we just had yesterday. We were recording. And what's interesting too is caring, just like a parent, can mean tough love too.
Yes.
You know, there's times where people are in positions that, you know, they talk about this all the time. Some people get pushed into management positions and they never wanted to be a manager, but it was kind of the natural progression. And all of a sudden, no, okay, well, they want more money. They've been here for a while. We're going to put them in management. And then they don't do well in management and it doesn't go well. Well, the caring or the tough love part is realizing, as a leader, we need to realize that this might not be the position for them. Maybe they were actually happier and more productive for the company not being a manager.
Yes, exactly. No, it's management is not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. And you're right. I when I wrote The Art of Caring Leadership, when I do the second edition, I'm going to go deeper into accountability. I do believe that. And that's coming up. That will be coming out after the next book. I will probably start on the second edition because the publisher wants me to. And I need to. And it's because I don't think I went far enough with informing people that while the way I talk about care and caring leadership has such a human, warm, relatable, trust-filled like way of being and talking, it just does. You don't show care for people if you don't set clear expectations.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't hold them accountable for something that you've empowered them to do. So you need to empower them.
Yep.
After you've delegated. And so I think I touched on them, but I didn't go deep enough. I didn't help them understand how much care and concern they show when they are clear, like not ambiguous with what's needed. They show a path forward, but allow people to do things within their own space with guardrails, and then how to hold somebody accountable with care and concern.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good.
Right.
It's just funny because, you know, everybody thinks when you say, you know, with our cultural and everything else in Keller Williams, one of the things that we talk about is, you know, just having, when somebody's not doing maybe the best job or they're not fitting into a position, you're actually doing them a disservice by not recognizing that and maybe bringing up that this might not be the right thing for them or it might not be the right job, period. and they might be better off somewhere else or in another position with another company. I think I think sometimes it's not about firing somebody. It's about what is the best position for that person. That's to me is so being human also,
That's showing concern and kindness. So caring leadership to me is showing concern and kindness towards those who look to you for guidance in some way. Yes. And so concern and kindness, not niceness. I don't ever know. This is not nice.
Yeah, right.
But being kind is sometimes showing people a different path.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's interesting, but good stuff though. So let's get self-leadership, the art of self-leadership. Let's dig into that a little bit. Tell me more about that. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from The Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.
Well, self-leadership was that first part of caring leadership. And again, when you look at the world that kind of abdicates responsibility, acts in a way that's not very human at all, when you just see what's happening in the macro environment, you go, oh boy, like if they could learn to lead themselves more effectively, and if we all could do that individually in our own shoes, how much better would the world be? So some of the things that are included in self-leadership are things like, what do you value? And what do you say you value, and how does that actually show up in your behaviors? And do you check yourself? How much do you understand what your fears are? And how do you let some of them, they do stop you from certain things, and how they let you propel you in other things? Progress over perfection. What is your view of performance, or even just taking action or risk? Is it that it has to be fully baked, or can it be good enough? And what is that? What's your definition? And how do you measure that? And that's a couple things. Communication styles and self-leadership. How are you understanding other people's communication styles? How are you meeting people where they're at in the moment? There's just a lot of different angles. Obviously, resilience is in there too. Do you have the ability to bounce back? Do you look at self-care from that's not only just for the woman who's in a bubble bath, that's for everyone. How do you learn to center and ground yourself? How do you, kind of calm yourself enough so that you're regulated before you respond to people? So those are all like part and parcel of what's embedded in self-leadership. And interestingly enough, that whole care, recovery, calm, groundedness is what leads me to the Unshakable Team book. So inside of self-leadership, I wrote it primarily because first I needed it.
Interesting. You needed it.
Secondly, I needed it. Like I saw, again, like I just told you, it was a mirror. So I saw what was happening in the world. And usually when we see something so pronounced, it's usually in us. Oh, yeah, it's the mirror image theory. You know this, right?
Yep.
So it doesn't mean it's all in us. It just means there's something about what we're seeing in the world that's in us, and we need to battle it. Yep. Exactly. Yep. And so for me, I was like, ooh. And so I had some awakenings that took place, and in that I realized I needed to write this for me, and write this for everyone else who struggled with a lot of the things that I had struggled with over the years. And in that time, the thing that I think spoke to many people and to me was this idea of grounding and of being centered and coming from more of a place of regulation, self-regulation, and not from a place of spillover, not being dysregulated basically, and not calming or being a stabilizing presence for those around you. So
interesting.
That was a big kind of awakening for me. So every time I write something, it's not just off the cuff. It's coming from what I hear, because I'm doing like employee focus groups with hundreds of people. I'm on podcasts like this, so I'm listening just like you are here. I'm in the audiences with thousands of people. So I'm hearing and I'm talking to them afterward, and I'm seeing how they receive the content. And so because I'm so present in that and I'm paying attention, that's what helps me determine where's my next level of content. What should I be focusing on next? Yeah.
What gives you your material? Yeah. Because you're feeding from what people need, or what they're not getting somewhere else. So, you're there to write it and make it possible. That's great. Very cool. So let's talk about the podcast, Becoming Unshakable. So you have all kinds. I mean, how many episodes? I mean, what? Any of your best guests or any kind of stories that you have from your podcast?
So interestingly enough, because you never asked this question, but I tell you the thing that's underneath the thing you're asking, Brad. So I actually have had a podcast since 2018, and it was called Leadership with Heart.
Okay.
And I interviewed leaders in that show who tend to be more emotionally intelligent. So they tend to be more of that caring kind of leader, but they're not perfect like none of us are. So I would always find the story of when they weren't so great and what happened and how they come out of it. That's what ended up inside the Art of Caring Leadership book and in some of the listening book as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So what happened is when I kind of had this, like after the self-leadership book and I was really seeing the world and how everybody was just off their rockers with concern and stress and anxiety over all the change and all those things, right? That's when I said, you know what? I'm getting a little bored with my other podcast. I was just feeling like less inspired to the interviews. I was doing them every week. I've been doing every week since 2018. And I finally said, I feel like something else there. And then when I got to the point where I had this thing, and then I had someone an advisor who I respect say, I really think this should be your new umbrella. I thought, dang it, I think this is the iteration. Like there's no changing it again. Like this is the final iteration of Heather Younger and what I do. Right. Yeah. So I'm becoming unshakable as it. And so I just decided to do that. And I've had people tell me different things. I decided to put becoming in front of it. Mm-hmm. Instead of some other words that people gave me, because I do think, as you alluded to earlier, that we are all works in progress. Yeah. So we're all in the process of becoming something by choice. It's by choice. So I'm saying, what are I'm kind of shining a mirror and shining a light and saying, what choices are we making? And what's making us one way or another, and what makes us feel more stable, more steady, what makes us feel less that way. And again, talking to people about the times when, something shook them. Yeah. Like, what was it? What was it? And again, what did it look like? Who was involved? Where was there anybody who showed up with care and compassion for you during that time where you were shaken? And so I'm always trying to meld in all the things, all the stuff I've already built, because I have such a strong foundation of content and thought leadership that I melded into the next level of the thing. And so in this case, with Becoming Unshakable, I'm always putting in all the different layers with the guests who are on there.
Cool. You know what's funny? When you said about the Unshakable thing, about that being your thing, that is what caught my eye. It is just the word unshakable, and just the way everything you had, it caught my eye. That was, we get a ton of requests now, we're blessed to have that ability now. We're getting a lot of requests to be on the show, and it's just cool. But I don't, something like that caught my eye. I don't even know why. Plus your energy, I could tell your energy from just looking at your Instagram page. Like when I look at an Instagram page and it wasn't all about you. There was other things. There's a lot in there. A lot of times when I look at these Instagram pages, you see it's just that person smiling, posing, whatever. And it's just funny because that was not you. You're in action on in your Instagram page. There's little blurbs about things. You have quotes, which I love. So it's cool. But I just want to let you know that Unshakable is what actually caught my eye. Even the font, the way it's written is really cool too. Yeah, it's just
I love that. Thank you. Well, you know what? It's I don't know if it was the right thing. Thank you for that. We'll see. Yeah, right. This is also a business move. So you see what this does for business. You see how it works with the direction. So there's just a lot of newness right now, and the newness, just like the people on the other end are experiencing, anxiety, unsettledness because of the unknown and the guessing. I'm putting myself purposely in the position to be in a similar spot than they were. And it's not comfortable, all the newness.
Well, but you're obviously handling it very well. So I think it's good.
This is what we do. If I can't actually walk the talk, that's right. I might as well just
give up. And you're becoming unshakable. Just remember, it's becoming. It's not you're there.
Thank you.
You're not there.
Thank you. We don't arrive. We never arrived at the caring side. Nobody. I just feel like nobody ever arrives to anything. We might arrive to a destination right, but that's about it. I went on vacation. I arrived to Italy.
That's right. And even then, that might not be it. That's not the end. It's not the end game.
That's true.
So let's go into some of the stuff that I had here. Because today's teams don't need leaders who are perfect and performative. They need leaders who are aware, regulated, and trusted in moments of uncertainty. I love that. That was somewhere, I don't know where I got it, but it was somewhere on your website or one of your places. I just thought that was neat. It was really cool. And I don't know if you want to expand on that, but I mean, the team thing obviously is what you're writing about now. It's going to come out in September of this year. The Unshakable Team. Let's talk about the Unshakable Team, because you went from the art of carrying leadership, the art of self leadership, that stuff is all leadership, and now it's the Unshakable Team. So it's just a little, because everything was leadership and now it's a team. So just tell me, how did you transition to the team part?
Well, it's interesting because I mean, even if you notice, all my books are like super artistic and colorful. They all have the art of theme. And then I switched on this book away from the art of, but I wanted to still wink back to my previous brand on the artistic. So the book, if you haven't or like seen it on Amazon, because I actually don't promote it much, but you saw it on Amazon. Yeah. I don't promote it yet because we're getting to the point where we're starting to do promotion. That book, it's still a leadership book. Okay. I mean, we should just be clear. I've got 20 years of leading people, so my main audiences are people who lead people.
Gotcha.
I mean, it doesn't mean I don't speak to everybody. No, and if I speak to everybody, I'm talking to them about self-leadership or listening. But more often than not, that is who I'm after. And now with the Unshakable Team, I'm really after that top tier leader. So I'm really after the VPs or above. They're the ones who impact the culture the fastest. Yep. I mean, in your case, one of the founders, the owners, the agents, like
Gary Keller is the one he's the one that started. Well, Gary Keller is the one that created the idea of the culture of our company. And then, it's been carried through from all the other leaders that the people that he attracts also are all about culture. And that's why, that's how this you probably know Keller Williams very well. You might have spoken at some of their places.
I have not spoken for, I did, no, that's not true. I did the Realtor Association. I didn't do Keller Williams.
Yeah. So it's, but you, I'm sure you're aware of it because I mean, they're everywhere.
Like franchises, like you and your leaders and everybody that are franchise leaders. Yep. This Unshakable Team. Well, any of my books would obviously speak to you because you're leading people, but this particular one, it would be about in the market that we're currently in. And I'm very aware of like some of the shakiness and unsteadiness in the real estate market and just the stuff that's happened just generally.
Lots of mergers.
Where are they, like what they feel, what they're feeling. They're all like, what's happening and everyone, my business and all the things, right? And so this book is it's like a navigation guide for leaders to say, in the midst of pressure and uncertainty, how do I as a leader first show up as that steady, stabilizing force? And I mean, I hammer that in pretty much. And this book is like, I mention it at least 20 times. Like, hey, and I'm going to say this again. You as the leader decide how steady your team is, how stable they feel. And here are the things. But giving them, so some of the things I put in there, listening's in there, psychological safety's in there. The things you do to build trust in there. But one of the biggest things I talk about is what decisions can people make? How clear are they about what you expect from them? How clear about what it is the heck they can do and cannot do? What are the ground rules? How do we move? So the entire book is based upon metaphor of a canoe, and it's based upon a personal story from one of my children. And so the entire book is about this story of a canoe and how we as leaders on the canoe, how we can help people navigate even when the waters get choppy and how much they look to the shore, and we help them see that through our values and our norms. So like I said to you before, there are certain things that are different in it, but what I've really done is just exploded the different concepts from all of my work and then tweak them with the language, because again, the metaphor itself, how it drives through, I think it'll speak to the people in a different way. So I give them this thing called the canoe map, and there's different zones within the canoe. Wow. And based upon that, there are different things they can look at. At the beginning of the book, there's a team stability scan that helps them understand which parts of the book are going to be more relevant to them after they complete the assessment. And then at the end of the book, there's a steadiness index assessment where they can, as a leader, say, how good am I? How strong am I? How steady am I? How much am I stabilizing my team? And it gives them a score for that, and it gives them kind of a report. So I have lots of tools inside this one that I'm hoping will really serve, again, as that navigation guide for the leaders who are facing a lot themselves. They have there's so much anxiety at the leadership level, so much lack of enthusiasm. And then there's this lack of trust and a lack of feeling stable by the people that are looking to them. So there's a lot of work to be done on all sides.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping I can help to do.
Yeah. And there was something that I saw that you wrote on one of the things there I saw is that you said you, at one point in one of the places in your career, you came out all frustrated and made the mistake of showing your frustration because you didn't take the 5 minutes to just chill out and gather yourself. Yeah. You came out of the meeting and you were frustrated and lashed out in front of whatever, not lashed out, but you showed your emotion or your frustration in front of the team. Yeah. And it did some damage, I guess, or it did some hurt because they look at you as being this strong, trustworthy, got your shit together, kind of person. And all of a sudden you come out and they're like, well, wait a minute, so that was pretty cool. And that's the art of being unshakable. You don't want to look that way coming out to your team. Right?
That's exactly right.
Sound right.
And that's right. And there's something I call selective vulnerability. So there is that, like, we are human. So there is a need to be selectively vulnerable so that they know that I am impacted by this change, like the reorgs, the layoffs.
Right.
There's a lot going on right now that have like massive consequences inside of full workforces in the world. Right. So the macro and the micro is always like the big world. And then the world inside their organizations and then the world inside their homes, right? It gets smaller and smaller. And so what I did by sharing that story, and I've got other stories like that, because I'm open about like a layoff and how I experienced it. This reorgs, that's what I was talking about. In the middle of 2 reorgs, I'm the leader and I come out of it and I'm just like, I'm completely shaken, right? And I don't have a way I just didn't figure out a way to manage through it. And I didn't know what to share. I didn't know it was safe to share. I didn't know what I should be doing. Yeah. And I realized when they saw me that I shared too much and that I did more damage to them and their psyche and their ability to move through the change than I thought that I did. Yeah. And so it was a big wake up for me. It made me realize that I do have to be a more regulated person. I do have to take the time to breathe and to steady myself and to stabilize me. I always think about, I don't know about you. Do you exercise at all? Like, do you do? What do you prefer to do when you exercise? Like,
I do a good fast walk. That's what I do. I'm not a big. I walk 2.5 miles every morning.
Nice. So walking is beautiful for you, right?
Yep. And
another thing that's so good, it's actually foundational, particularly as we get over 40, let's just say.
Well, I'm way over that.
It's like the core. Me too. But I did for anybody who's listening over 40, it works, is strengthening our core. Yeah. So, and it doesn't necessarily mean like tons of ab exercises either. No. Core is also like hip.
Yep.
Like it's just like whole middle section. I always thought it was just my stomach. It's the back. Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. So when you do that, it allows you, for example, like when you might not fall off balance as hard. So like the falls that we have to avoid over 40.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you want to stabilize So what I'm trying to do in the book is say, I want to give you tools and a system that stabilizes you and the team so that when the next change happens, when the uncertainty hits and it's just right there, it's like the next one's happening. It's like tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are things you can do that say, we're not going to completely tip. We're not going to capsize in the boat. We are going to shift. It's going to move. We may feel upset. We may have the human emotions inside of us, but we will not capsize because we put the systems in place. Yeah. And that's what I'm attempting to do in this. I'm doing it because been there, done that. And by the way, I'm writing a book about it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Right. Well, it sounds like you're passionate about it too, which is really cool. Let's get into... there was something that I read here. Many of us tie our value to external achievements or the validation of others, but self-leadership begins with recognizing that your worth is inherent. And I just put down, love this. I always say that don't lead into a situation with your accomplishments, lead with you. You are the only thing unique in all situations. That's what I got from that, but it was just interesting. I saw that, and that's what it kind of came out to me. That was good. I don't know if you want to, talk about that at all, how that came about?
Yeah, I mean, I struggled early on. I'm the only child. I come from an interracial and interfaith family, and I was often the outsider in the family.
Well, you got a lot of stuff going on there. Only child, interracial, and what was it?
Faith.
My mom
Faith.
is white and Jewish. My
Right.
dad was black and Christian. So,
Oh my gosh.
Interracial, interfaith.
That's
all kinds
amazing.
of things. I even
That's
have drug
crazy.
addiction that was in my home. I have all kinds of stuff. So there's all
Oh,
kinds of stuff. And there were
man.
messages that were, as a kid, there's like these messages that you
Yeah.
don't think you're having, but there's messages that you receive. And the message is that you're not good enough, that you don't belong, that something's wrong with you, right?
Yep.
So I spent just way too much time of my life grappling and dealing with that, even though I'm like, again, people are like, you're the person who has the stuff together. Like you said, you're the
Yeah.
steady, strong person. You're the one who, whatever, right? Yes. And two things can happen at the same time. They can both exist at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was having that struggle of that. And I got to the point where I had gone to a retreat a few years ago, which is where the self-leadership book came from. But the beginning story of that is about a retreat I'd gone to. And as I'm there, I have an awakening because I'm going there because I needed clarity because I was feeling off kilter. And I go and I come out of that. Now, I'm not going to go much into the story because this would take it way too long. But that story alone is an amazing story to have. But I come out of this story, this situation, and I'm like, wow, like I have been covering who I am in clay my entire life. Like I have been covering it up. I've been showing sides of myself that they're there, but they've been hidden. Like it's been like just little slivers of it, but not the full thing. So this whole idea of you are good enough, you are worthy just because you are loved because you are, is the thing that like the end thing that came out of it for me. And then it gave me permission to just be fully me, unapologetically me. Now I say unapologetic me, but that does not mean that I can be a jerk to other people.
No.
Okay, I'm going to say that because I believe in authenticity, but when it knocks up against another human, that makes them feel, that's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying for me in my own skin, I felt more comfortable to say I can now show more of myself so that you are loved, you are, worthy of all the things, and you are wonderful who you are. Like all of those things was a message I needed to deliver other people. And I said that it's a mirror. So I knew I had the awakening, and I realized that there were so many other people in my audiences, people I was talking to that just were battling with that same thing of just not saying like, I am, you're good because you are you. That is it.
Period.
You don't have to prove not one more thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's
the message. Yeah,
it is. It's a cool message. And I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be wrapping up here for in a little bit, but I just wanted to, how do people get in touch with you? How do they reach out? How can they see you? I know you have great Instagram. Is that the place to go? Website? You tell me where they should go. Obviously buying the books too.
I put content on all of them. So I put content. I'm most like the Instagram, LinkedIn's my biggest following. So that's the place I'm there. I've been there the longest. So LinkedIn, Instagram is Heather R. Younger Official, I believe. And then, wherever else. Like you just put in Heather Younger, the odds are you'll find me somewhere.
We're going to find you, right? We're going to find you somewhere. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I wish you the best luck with the book, The Unshakable Team. It's coming out in September, right? We'll be looking for that. I appreciate you, being on the show. And we look forward to having you back on the show. And that's about it. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we end?
No, I can't wait to like at some point be traveling and come actually see you in New York.
Yeah. You got to come to the studio here. We'd love it. It's a good time. All right. Thanks so much, Heather. I appreciate it. Wow, there you go. Heather Younger. Gotta love that name too. Self-Leadership, Unshakable Leadership. She has a book coming out September 2026. That's this year. The Unshakable Team. So you want to check her out, you can go to her Instagram page. Just look up Heather Younger and hit her website. She's everywhere. Believe me, you type in Heather Younger, you're going to find her. All right, that's about it. See you every Thursday at 7 p.m. All right, thank you. Hi, this is Brad Weisman. Come back here every Thursday at 7 p.m. to watch The Brad Weisman Show. We have new guests every single week, and we love having you as an audience. All right, we'll see you soon.